Members of the Chicago Bulls organization have spoke out on Zach LaVine leaving a win against the Miami Heat and some of his antics as of late amongst trade talks. I'm your host, Joey Mercer. This is Bulls Digest, and before we get into it today, I just want to say that about 97% of you that watch these videos are not subscribed. So if you aren't already and you're looking for daily Chicago Bulls content, then look no further. Go down below, hit the subscribe button, and turn on the bell for notifications. And every day when we upload, you'll be notified and you won't have to search for this anymore because everything you need is right here at your fingertips. So without further ado, let's get right into it. The first thing we have to talk about today is updated LaVine trade talk. So there's been lots of rumors and lots of teams and potential trade packages discussed and brought out, and just people in the trade machine on ESPN nonstop trying to figure out where the Bulls star is going to go. Is he going to go to a playoff team? Is he just going to go to a better situation? Is he already in his best situation? These are the things that have really come up the most in the media. A lot of people have been looking towards a Chicago Bulls rebuild, but the front office seems to be a little bit more hesitant to do something like that. Although it may be time that the Chicago Bulls do a rebuild, and that's something that we've been talking about a lot here lately on Bulls Digest. The article I saw was once again on Sports Illustrated talking about LaVine behind the scenes a little bit more so we can get a better understanding of what took place and how some people in the organization feel about it. So the first thing was, through the first 16 games of the season, the Bulls find themselves at 13th in the Eastern Conference with a record of 5-11. This was before, of course, the loss the other night, making them 5-12. And the caliber of players in Chicago deserve a better record than they currently have, which is causing some speculation that Zach LaVine might be headed to a playoff-worthy team. So yeah, I mean, a lot of people have talked about the Lakers or the Miami Heat or even the Denver Nuggets have been a bit of a dark horse in this, and we really don't know where he's going to go, but people seem to think it's going to be a contender if a trade does happen. So then I saw this. These are the trade odds from Bodog, the Canadian betting site, of course. And it says the Lakers currently have the best odds at now plus 150. So the odds have actually changed. It was the Miami Heat at about plus 260 that we saw the other night. Now the Heat have taken a bit of a step back and are tied actually with the Indiana Pacers, oddly enough, at plus 300. But the Lakers, yeah, at plus 150. We've talked about loads of trade packages with them around D'Lo, Rui Hachimura, and other players. That's just to name a few. And the Heat, we talked about a potential Tyler Hero trade where they'd have to add a little bit more. The Pacers, we haven't talked too much about. I think it would be a trade centered around Buddy Hield if something like that were to take place. Or maybe we'd even be able to get Miles Turner. However, I think that the Pacers wouldn't be looking to move Miles Turner at the moment. But you never know what they could be interested in doing. However, I really do feel like Buddy Hield would be the guy to build around there if trades were to happen. Because Hield, at the start of the season, of course, negotiations for a contract went a little bit south, and they have been looking for a trade suitor for him. However, the Pacers have been off to a hot start, so things may be changed there. The Raptors are at plus 650 now. We've talked about a trade going over there. I don't think OG Anunoby would ever come back because the Raptors seem to want a whole lot for him. But Gary Trent Jr. is another guy plus that we could talk about. Golden State Warriors at plus 800. The 76ers at plus 1,000. They've gone down a lot because it doesn't seem like they're going to make another major push as they've done really well with Tyrese Maxey on that team instead of just James Harden being there with him. And then the Dallas Mavericks as a somewhat dark horse right now at plus 1,200. But as I've talked about it before, I really don't know what a solid trade package there would be unless it was Tim Hardaway Jr. And then nothing really is happening for the Bulls side there because I'm not sure about Dallas's draft compensation, how good it's going to be where they do have Luka Doncic over there making them competitive every year. Yeah, interesting to see the update in the odds that the Lakers are at plus 150, so it's nearly guaranteed right now if you were going to bet on that, saying that the Los Angeles Lakers are going to get Zach LaVine. They're going to make that aggressive push to take them to the next level, as Taurean Prince has really not been very good, and they're looking for a 2/3 to kind of fit into that lineup. I saw Max Christie for them last night when they played the Cavs play some minutes, actually trying to guard Donovan Mitchell, and he did quite a poor job. So they really do need a guy to come in and play the two, because I understand Zach LaVine is not that great of a defender, but he's a way better scorer than Max Christie probably ever will be. So you have to take that into account when he's a former two-time All-Star. Second thing we want to talk about today is the Bulls members on Zach LaVine. So they spoke out on this. We had a couple people from the Bulls organization talk about it, and it wasn't just the players, which is why I'm saying members. And it wasn't, of course, just the coaches or front staff. The main people that we have talking about this actually right now are Alex Caruso, first off. And he is, of course, LaVine's teammate and has been having a spectacular season defensively, despite the Bulls' struggles. On Thursday, he was asked by The Atlantic how the noise was affecting him, LaVine, and the rest of the team. Interesting to see there that Caruso seems to think that things are still the same in Chicago with how Zach LaVine is, and it just has to do with more so work ethic, and the struggles that the Chicago Bulls have had as of late, which is the exact same place that DeMar DeRozan was at when he was asked about it recently. Of course, DeRozan wasn't very happy, which we talked about in yesterday's video, when they lost to the Raptors in the play-in and they had the last-second shot and so on. But seems like the players are on the same page in that sense, and maybe it just has to do with the struggles, and maybe that's all that there is to it. But we also had Coach Billy Donovan chime in and talk about this as well. So we had a Bulls PR person try to get Zach LaVine to stay on the court for the post-game interview, and Zach ignored her and pushes her away. And that was actually the PR person, when they won against Miami, coming back from being down 22-1. That was the person that he pushed out of the way. They tried to keep him there, and he really wanted none of it, which led to all of this speculation of, does he really even want to be here? So then Coach Billy Donovan came out and said, I did not see anything different from him in that locker room when I walked in. I didn't get a guy who wasn't in the locker room or in a different room or upset or pouting or turned around. I talked to him after the game. He talked to players after the game. I saw a normal Zach in there. Maybe he just needed to take a minute to really understand what was going on around him and how his feelings were towards the team. Maybe he had a bit of a mental lapse and just needed to take a moment. That could be all it is, or it could be that he, obviously knows something that the Bulls organization doesn't know on the lower end, and maybe the front office is very aware of as trade talks have come around. Maybe he has heard from his agent that there's been a few suitors, and maybe they just haven't worked on both sides too well, and maybe he was upset if the Bulls were given a trade and it was the team he wanted, and they turned it down, and he knows of it. There's lots of things to speculate there, and we're going to be talking about more when it comes to the Chicago Bulls, of course, in tomorrow's episode of Bulls Digest. This has been your host, Joey Mercer. Make sure to go down below, like and comment on the video, and subscribe to the channel. We're doing this 7 days a week, and I can't wait to see you in the next one.